Quick question. When you hear omega-3, what pops into your head? Salmon, right? Maybe a fish oil pill your doctor told you to take. Almost everyone thinks the same thing. Here's the part nobody tells you. Fish don't even make omega-3. They eat plants that make it, then we eat the fish and give the plant zero credit. It's honestly a little unfair when you think about it. The fish gets all the glory for something it basically stole from a plant further down the food chain. Today, we're fixing that. I'm about to walk you through 15 plants that are quietly loaded with this fat, and I promise you already own at least 5 of them without knowing it. One is probably growing in your backyard right now, and you've been pulling it out and throwing it in the trash. Another one you're eating wrong every single time, and you're literally tossing away the best part. And a couple of these are going to sound completely made up, plants that sound fake, but are sitting in a grocery store near you right now. Stick around till the end because number 1 on this list is going to make you look at your own garden completely differently. You will never weed the same way again. One quick honest note. Plant omega-3 works a little differently than fish omega-3, and your body only converts a small amount of it. So think of this list as adding good stuff to your plate, not replacing anything your doctor told you to do. Here's how this works. I'm not just going to throw 15 names at you and move on. Every single plant on this list has a story behind it. Something your grandparents probably knew that got lost somewhere along the way. And I'm ranking them from good to absolutely wild. So if you're only going to stick around for part of this, at least catch the last few because they get genuinely strange in the best way. Alright, let's get into it. Number 15, mustard greens. Growing up, somebody in your family probably had a pot of greens simmering on the stove and you had no idea why. Turns out grandma knew something you didn't. Mustard greens have a real amount of healthy fat packed into those peppery leaves, way more than the boring lettuce sitting next to them at the store. People have been eating them for thousands of years across the American South, Africa, and Asia, way before anyone had a clue why they made you feel good. Fun fact, mustard greens and the yellow mustard sitting in your fridge come from basically the same plant family, so you've technically already met this one and just didn't know it. They cook down fast, they taste bold, and honestly, a little bacon or garlic, and you'll forget you're eating something healthy at all. Some old-school cooks swear by adding a splash of vinegar right at the end, it cuts the bitterness and makes the whole dish taste brighter. If you've never cooked them yourself, they're honestly one of the easiest greens to get right on the first try, way more forgiving than people assume. They don't wilt or go slimy the way spinach sometimes does if you cook it a minute too long. But mustard greens are just the warm-up. Next one is a fruit sitting in your fridge right now that you've probably been eating completely wrong. Number 14, kiwi. Be honest, do you peel your kiwi? Most people do, and that's actually the mistake. Those tiny black seeds inside carry real omega-3, so every time you eat one, you're already getting a little boost without trying. But the skin, the part everyone throws away, is where a lot of the fiber and good stuff actually lives. Wash it, eat it whole, seeds and skin and all. It sounds weird the first time, tastes totally normal after that, kind of like eating a slightly fuzzy grape. There's also research showing people who eat kiwi before bed fall asleep faster, which honestly might be the best $2 sleep hack you'll ever try. There's even a mild effect on your blood that's similar to what a low-dose aspirin does, just way gentler, which is a pretty wild thing for a fruit sitting in your grocery store's regular produce section. Simple fruit, way more going on than anyone gives it credit for, and it costs about the same as a candy bar at most grocery stores. Next up is something sitting in your spice cabinet that you've probably never once thought of as food. Number 13, sesame seeds. Sesame seeds are the seeds nobody notices. They're on your burger bun, they're on your bagel, and you brush them off without a second thought. That's a mistake, because these tiny things carry real omega-3 plus a couple of compounds that help your liver do its job and support healthy cholesterol. Their calcium content will actually surprise you. It's up there with a glass of milk if you're eating the unhulled kind, which is a genuinely good option if dairy doesn't sit well with you. They've also got a decent amount of zinc and copper, minerals your body needs for pretty much everything from healing cuts to keeping your immune system running. And honestly, most people don't think about getting these from seeds at all. They assume it has to come from meat or a pill. Best part, you don't even have to think about eating them separately. Grab tahini, the paste made from ground sesame, and drizzle it over literally anything. Roasted vegetables, salad, even just toast. A little toasting before you use them actually wakes up the flavor even more. Just a minute or two in a dry pan until they start to smell nutty, and don't walk away because they burn fast once they get going. 2 minutes of effort for a food most people walk right past every day. Now here's a vegetable that ruined its own reputation by being cooked badly for 50 years straight. Number 12. Brussels sprouts. If you hated Brussels sprouts as a kid, I don't blame you. Somebody boiled them into a soggy, bitter mess, and that's the only version you ever got. Here's the truth nobody told you back then. Roasted properly, with real heat until the edges go dark and crispy, they taste completely different, almost sweet. And along the way, you're getting a solid dose of healthy fat plus compounds that help your body clean itself out naturally. 1 cup gives you more vitamin K than you need for the whole day, and there's a decent amount of fiber in there too, which your gut bacteria genuinely appreciate. The fix is embarrassingly simple. Cut them in half, toss with oil and salt, roast hot until they char a little. That's it. No boiling, no steaming, no soggy mush. Most people who hate Brussels sprouts have simply never had them cooked right, and once they try the roasted version, they usually come back around within 1 bite. It's honestly one of the easiest wins on this whole list. You're not changing what you eat, you're just changing how you cook something you already buy anyway. Speaking of things everyone's already eating and ignoring, here's one that's been sitting in smoothies for a decade. Number 11, spinach. Everyone knows spinach has iron. Popeye made sure of that. What almost nobody knows is that it's also quietly carrying omega-3, just in a smaller amount than some of the others on this list. But here's the thing, spinach packs so much nutrition per bite that even a small amount of good fat matters. It's also loaded with 2 nutrients, lutein and zeaxanthin, that basically live in your eyes and help protect your vision as you get older, which is honestly not something you think about until you're older and suddenly you do. On top of that, spinach has nitrates that your body turns into a compound that helps blood flow more smoothly, which is part of why some athletes eat it before a big workout or race. It's a cheap, natural edge that's been sitting in the produce aisle the whole time. One tip that actually changes things, don't eat it exclusively raw. A quick sauté in a little olive oil helps your body absorb more of the good stuff. Cheap, everywhere, and doing way more work than its reputation suggests. Honestly, spinach might be the most underrated food on this entire list simply because it's too common for anyone to bother talking about it. Its cooler, trendier cousin is up next. Number 10, Kale. Kale had its whole moment a few years back. Everyone was juicing it, blending it, putting it on everything. But somehow in all that hype, nobody actually talked about its omega-3. It's not huge, but it's real, and it's just one more thing this ridiculously old vegetable has going for it. Kale has literally been grown in Europe for over 2,000 years, so the health trend is actually a few thousand years late. Back then, it wasn't a trendy juice ingredient, it was just what people had left in the garden after everything else died off in the cold. Kale was basically the food you ate because it was the only thing that survived, not because it was cool. Fun fact, it gets sweeter after a frost, which is why old-school gardeners planted it right before winter hit. The cold actually triggers the plant to produce more sugar to protect itself. Grow a couple plants in a pot on your porch, and you'll have fresh greens for months, even through weather that would kill most other vegetables, which makes it one of the most low-maintenance things you could possibly plant. Next up is something you're probably throwing straight in the trash every single October. Number 9, pumpkin seeds. Every Halloween, millions of people carve a pumpkin, scoop out the seeds, and dump them in the garbage. That's genuinely one of the biggest food wastes of the whole year. Those seeds have real omega-3 in them. But the bigger deal is the magnesium and zinc packed inside, 2 minerals most people are quietly running low on without realizing it. Magnesium alone is involved in hundreds of processes in your body, from muscle function to sleep quality, and most people simply don't get enough of it through regular meals. Zinc especially matters for your immune system and for men's health specifically. There's also a sleep connection. These seeds have an amino acid your body turns into melatonin, so a small handful before bed can actually help you wind down instead of scrolling your phone for another hour. Rinse them, pat dry, roast low with a little salt for 20 minutes, and don't rush it. Low and slow gets you that satisfying crunch without burning them. Halloween trash turns into one of the best snacks in your kitchen. And honestly, once you try homemade roasted pumpkin seeds, the store-bought bag never quite tastes the same again. Next one shows up free at every sushi restaurant and almost nobody thinks twice about it. Number 8, Edamame. You know that little bowl of green pods they bring you at a sushi place before your food arrives? That's edamame, and most people treat it like a snack to kill time. It's actually one of the rarest plant foods out there because it gives you complete protein and real omega-3 at the same time. which almost no other plant does. Most plant proteins are missing something, some essential piece your body needs but has to get from another food. Edamame isn't. It's been grown in Asia for thousands of years and was once considered one of the 5 sacred grains in ancient China, so it's had a pretty good reputation for a while now. It's also got a solid amount of folate, which matters a lot during pregnancy, right when your body needs both folate and omega-3 more than usual, so it's quietly one of the better foods for that specific window, even though nobody markets it that way. Steam it, sprinkle salt, done. Keep a bag in your freezer and you've got a legit protein and omega-3 snack ready in 5 minutes flat, no thawing required, no excuses left. Alright, quick check-in, we're a little past halfway. If you're still here, you already care about this stuff more than most people do. So let me tell you honestly, the next few plants are the ones that made me want to make this video in the first place. Coming up, the fruit that somehow got famous for the wrong reason. Number 7, avocado. Everyone loves avocado. Toast, guacamole, smoothie bowls, you name it. But almost nobody eats it for the omega-3, and honestly, that's not even the main reason it's on this list. Avocado's real power is that its fat helps your body actually absorb the nutrients from everything else you eat alongside it. So that avocado on your toast isn't just tasty, it's making your other food work harder for you, kind of like a nutritional wingman. Put some avocado on a spinach salad and you're not just adding flavor, you're helping your body actually use more of what's in that spinach. It's been grown in Mexico and Central America for thousands of years, and people back then valued it so much they buried it with their dead. That's commitment to a fruit. Think of avocado less as the star of this list and more as the friend who makes everyone else look better. Now we're getting into the plants that actually surprised me while researching this. Quick pause before we keep going. If you're the kind of person who actually grows some of your own food, or even just has a couple pots on a balcony, the next few plants are going to hit different because there's a decent chance you're already growing at least one of them without knowing what it actually does. Okay, back to it. Number 6, hemp seeds. Let's clear this up immediately because I know what you're thinking. Hemp seeds will not get you high. Zero chance, not even a little. They're basically the same plant family, but a completely different variety grown specifically for food instead of anything else. What they will do is give you one of the most perfectly balanced fats you can eat, plus complete protein and a solid dose of magnesium. Nutrition researchers actually point to hemp's fat ratio as close to what the human body is naturally built for, which is genuinely rare to find in one single plant. A few years back, hemp was basically a forbidden word. Now it's sitting in the health food aisle at every grocery store, because people finally figured out the plant itself was never the problem. Sprinkle it on yogurt, blend it into a smoothie, stir it into oatmeal. It barely has a taste, so it disappears into whatever you're already eating without changing the flavor at all. This is exactly why our great-grandparents grew hemp on almost every farm before it got a bad reputation for reasons that had nothing to do with nutrition. If you ask me, this is one of the biggest nutrition comebacks of the last decade, and most people still don't know it happened. Next one is a plant you've probably never even heard of, and that's honestly a shame. Number 5, Perilla. Ever been to a Korean barbecue place and seen those big green leaves they wrap the meat in? That's Perilla, sometimes called shiso, and outside of Korean, Japanese, and Chinese cooking, almost nobody in the West has ever tasted it. Here's the wild part. Its oil is one of the highest omega-3 plant oils ever tested. Over half of it can be pure omega-3, putting it right at the top next to the 2 biggest names on this list. The roasted seeds also get ground into rich, savory sauces in Korean cooking, so if you've ever had a dish that tasted deeply nutty and you couldn't place it, this might have been the reason. It never really made it into American gardens, purely because it never crossed the ocean, not because it's hard to grow. It actually grows easily almost anywhere, and a few adventurous home gardeners are already starting to plant it. If you've never tried it, that Korean barbecue spot near you is basically sitting on a secret, and next time you're there, order it on purpose instead of just using it as a wrapper without thinking. Speaking of the biggest names, here comes one of them. Number 4, flaxseed. Flaxseed has the highest concentration of plant omega-3 of any seed people actually eat regularly. Beats chia, beats walnuts, no contest. But here's the catch almost nobody tells you. If you eat the whole seed, it just passes straight through you completely undigested. All that omega-3 wasted, gone before your body ever gets a chance to use it. You have to grind it first. Once it's ground, your body can actually use it, and that one simple change is the entire difference between a superfood and a food that just looks super on the label. This seed has been around for over 30,000 years, Ancient Egyptians used the fibers to wrap their dead and ate the seeds for food at the same time. So this isn't some new discovery. It's one of the oldest crops humans have ever bothered to grow on purpose. It also contains compounds called lignans, which have been studied for hormone balance. So there's more going on here than just the fat content. Buy it whole, grind small batches in a coffee grinder, and keep it in the fridge because it goes bad fast once it hits air. 1 tablespoon a day, ground actually matters. Skip that grinding step and you're basically eating decoration, a little sprinkle on top of something that does absolutely nothing for you nutritionally. Number 3. Chia seeds. You've seen chia in every trendy pudding and smoothie bowl for the last 10 years, but this seed has a way older story. Aztec warriors and runners actually carried chia in pouches and lived on it during long journeys because it gave them steady energy for hours. The name itself literally translates to strength. Just 2 tablespoons gives you one of the most concentrated omega-3 doses of anything on this list. Drop it in water or juice and watch it turn into a gel in about 10 minutes. That thick gel is also why it keeps your blood sugar steadier after meals instead of spiking and crashing. It slows everything down as it moves through your system. It's also got a surprising amount of calcium, so if you're cutting back on dairy, this quietly fills part of that gap without you even trying. Ancient survival food, modern smoothie topping, same seed the whole time. It just took a few thousand years and an Instagram trend to get its second act. Next up, the nut shaped exactly like the organ it's actually good for. Number 2. Walnuts. If this whole video disappears from your memory tomorrow except for one thing, make it this. Walnuts have more omega-3 than any other tree nut, and it's not even close. People have pointed out for centuries that a walnut looks like a tiny brain, and while that's just a fun coincidence, the actual science backs up the brain connection anyway. Studies on regular walnut eaters keep finding better memory, sharper thinking, and less inflammation throughout the body. They even change your gut bacteria for the better within a few weeks of eating them regularly, which is a strange thing for a nut to be able to do. There's also research on older adults showing measurable improvement in memory and processing speed after eating walnuts consistently for a few months, which is a pretty big deal for something you can just grab from the pantry instead of a pharmacy. The catch: walnuts go bad fast once they're shelled because that same healthy fat makes them fragile. Keep them in the fridge, buy fresh, and taste one before trusting the whole bag. A rancid walnut has a sharp, bitter taste you'll notice immediately. About 7 halves a day is the sweet spot, raw, tossed into oatmeal, or crushed up into a homemade pesto if you're feeling fancy. And now, the one I promised you at the very start. Before we get there, real quick, one thing I noticed putting this whole list together. Almost every plant on here has the same story. Somebody figured out it was good for you 1,000 years before science caught up. Then modern food culture just quietly dropped it because it wasn't shiny or easy to sell in a bottle. That pattern shows up again and again, and honestly, it's kind of the whole point of this video. Okay, now for real, here's number 1. Number 1, Purslane. This is it. The plant that's probably growing in your yard right now, and you've been ripping it out without a second thought. Purslane is that low, fleshy little weed with reddish stems that pops up between your tomato plants or in the cracks of your driveway. Every gardener on earth treats it like the enemy. Here's what almost nobody knows. Purslane has more omega-3 than any leafy green ever tested, roughly 5 times more than spinach. And it gets weirder, it's one of the only plants on the entire planet that actually contains a little bit of the same type of omega-3 usually found only in fish. A weed doing what salmon does. People in the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and Mexico have been eating it happily for thousands of years. It shows up in Greek salads and Mexican verdolagas dishes, crisp and a little lemony. Honestly, pretty good raw, somewhere between spinach and cucumber in texture. Even its fat ratio, the balance between different types, lines up closer to what human diets look like before processed oils took over, which might matter just as much as the raw omega-3 number itself. One small note, it does have natural oxalates, so if you're prone to kidney stones, don't go overboard, and always be sure you're identifying it correctly before eating anything you find growing wild. There are a couple of lookalikes out there that you don't want to mix up. Next time you see it creeping through your garden bed, don't pull it, eat it. So there it is. 15 plants that were sitting in your kitchen, your garden, and your sushi order this whole time, quietly doing something you never gave them credit for. Not a single one of these required a lab coat or a prescription. They were just sitting there the whole time waiting for somebody to actually pay attention. You don't need a supplement stack or a diet overhaul to use any of this. Just start swapping 1 or 2 things into your week and let it build from there. Small changes stack up way more than people expect, and none of these are hard to find or expensive to try. Now I want to know, which one actually surprised you? Was it the weed in your backyard, or the fruit you've been peeling wrong your whole life? Maybe it was the seeds you've been throwing in the trash every Halloween without a second thought, or maybe it was the fact that a Korean barbecue leaf has more omega-3 than half the health food aisle. Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and I genuinely want to know which one you're trying first. And if this changed the way you'll look at your own garden, hit subscribe, because next week we're doing this again with a whole new list.